All right. I think we are live. I'm going to head over to the YouTubes just to check here. It's a Sunday night stream, a Sunday night surprise stream. I had actually planned to do this. Well, I'd sort of planned to do this on Friday, but uh, you know, sometimes life gets in the way, and didn't happen. Didn't happen Friday. It didn't happen Saturday, but it's happening right now, Sunday night. I'm coming in here, trying to see if I can tell if anybody is watching. Let me head back over to. All right, it looks like we got some Space Marine Hunter. I like that name. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We've got so far we've got one. That's fine. All right, so as people are coming in, I just want to explain. So this is a different view than you've had before. I don't like this view. I'd rather have it how I normally have it set up. But my in-laws, my sister-in-law's family is in town, and they're actually using the tables that I would have available to use for my figure reviews or live streaming. So I'm not able to do my normal setup. So that's why you're seeing me like this. So pay no attention to what's behind me. And I don't have good lighting, but it's not really important how I look tonight because we're going to be looking at the reveals from Hasbro Pulse on Friday. I'm a little late. I wanted to get this done on Friday, but it just didn't happen. So the Space Marine Hunter says, do you play Warhammer? No, I do not. I do not play Warhammer. But I've heard about it, but I really don't really know exactly what it is. I know it's a game, but that's about it. So let's see. Let's go ahead and let me know if you can hear me, if you're out there. I'd rather make sure that you guys can hear me before I start going through these. I've got the slides queued up here. So we're going to be looking at the classified figure reveals and the retro figure reveals from this past Friday. There was some other stuff revealed, or some stuff was already out before, but I'm not going to be really looking at that tonight. Hey, Bat Hulk says loud and clear, and Space Marine Hunter can hear me as well. So, all right, let's start going through it. You guys might have already seen these, but I'm just going to give you my opinion. It might be the same or different than what you've already seen. So let me see if I can pull these up. Action Figure Expert. Hey, man, thanks for tuning in. Whoa, that's all right. So the picture's working. That's too small. We need me to be smaller. There we go. Yeah, you don't want to be looking at my ugly mug the whole time, right? We've got these beautiful figure pictures to look at. So first up is Flint. And Lenny from Hasbro on the live stream on the Fan First Friday event, he called him, I believe he said Dashiell, and I always thought it was pronounced Dashiell. So I'm not sure what the correct pronunciation is because, we see it in the file card and we read it in the comic, but yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's Dashiell. Either way, I normally just call him Flint. So we're going to call him Flint. Here he is in the package. I love this card art. I have a preference for the painterly style of card art. And yeah, he's looking pretty good in package. Here he is out of package. The beret is removable. And it looks like they went with the classic Flint that we know, black shirt, camo green pants with some modern updates. He's got the vest on, and they kept the bullets there, which is nice. He does, so if you notice in this picture, he does have those shin guards, the armored shin guards, which I believe were probably originally planned to be gold. But I think that Hasbro heard the overwhelming negative response to the gold from Wave 1 that we saw on Duke and Roadblock, and they did a little course correction. So um, I think most figures from now on, we will not see the gold. I think Lenny said that. Um, so yeah, I much prefer this darker gray color. And Gung Ho, which was in Wave 2, had also had this armored shin guards, silver, but these look like a dark gray and dark gray knee pads. And he's got a couple belts going on. Let's see what the. Here he is wearing the beret and looking pretty cool. Let me see. Does he? I believe he's borrowing. He has the same legs as Duke from Wave 1. And if you'll notice there on his left, by his left shoulder, the strap there has that blue, what I believe we're calling some kind of communication device that we've seen throughout the line. Duke has it, Roadblock has it, the Scarlet. I have the figures over here. That's why I'm looking off to the side. I think Scarlet has it. But yeah, that's there. I like that. I like that one unifying thing that goes through all the figures. So that's cool. And they made special note of on the live stream. They showed us that this shotgun can open, so you can have him posing like he's loading the weapon, which is pretty cool. So he's loading it, and bam, ready for action. Loading, bam, ready for action. And I think it looks great holding it. He's got brown gloves, and he's got in this. Hold on, wait, let me go. I think in these you can kind of see he's got a little scar here under his eye. You can't really see it too good in these. I love these photos, these set photos that they took with the figures. We've seen these before with the other reveals, and he's looking really cool in my opinion. And from everything that I've heard online since then, again, this was revealed on Friday. We've had a couple days to digest it. I feel like a vast majority of people are pretty happy with this reveal, with this figure. And he can store his rifle there on his back, on the holster on the back. And which I like. It looks like he can hold everything. He's got the holster there on his hip for his pistol. Is that? Yeah, sorry. In one angle, that pistol looks different than in the other angle. Like here, and then that from this angle, it kind of looks like a more traditional weapon. But I guess it's the same thing. And there was something I was going to say, and I forgot what it is. I like the paint detail on here. You see the gold on the bullets. Everything looks like everything else is black. If you're gonna Hasbro, if you're gonna paint, if you're gonna give weapons a color, just go with black. That should be the default. Okay, and then you can add on from there. So they got it right here, in my opinion. And next up, so you can't have Flint without Lady Jaye. And Lady Jaye is my favorite female Joe, bar none. So I'm glad she's the second one out of the gate on the Joe team. The thing that I like the best about this figure is that you'll see in the package, we've got a hat, and that hat can replace the hair that's on her head. It's two detachable pieces, which if you are familiar with Boss Fight Studio also did this. I don't know if Hasbro has done this with other figures, but Boss Fight did this with their Barbarian figure. I believe this guy's name is Vandar, if I'm not mistaken. But you'll see he's got these. Hold on. Let me jump back over here real quick. Here. So you'll see he's got this long hair. And his long hair comes off like that, and then you can put on, I don't have it with me, I should have grabbed it, but I think he's got a helmet or something that goes on here in place of the hair, so you can switch out the hair with a helmet or whatever else. And I believe that same sort of idea is at play here with the Lady Jaye figure. So I'm going to put him over here. So that's Lady Jaye in the package. Love that packaging art. And it looks like she comes with quite a bit of accessories there. And hey, Dagon, just checking the chat here to see who else. Hey, Action Figure Expert and Michael or Michelle. Hey. And Mark, let me see. Mark has a little comment there. Is it gonna? Well, that's not what I wanted. Bat Hulk, thanks for that comment. The hat is cool, but that's not the one that I wanted to show. Where? Here. So Mark says her face seems a little off to me. I had the same thought. Again, you can't tell 100% how these are going to look until you really get them in hand. The pictures do tell you a lot, but really the proof is in hand. So let's go over to, so that's in package. So here, I think the face looks okay here. It's some of the pictures with some of the angles, the face looks a little off to me too, Mark. So you're not alone there. But they went with the sort of combo of vintage V1 figure design / Sunbow design, which I think was a great idea. My personal preference for Lady Jaye is hatless, just the hair, the Sunbow look. That's what I prefer. But again, she comes with the hat. She's got a green jumpsuit with some darker green details. Looks like brown boots. And again, I'm guessing there was supposed to be some gold in there, but the axe got taken out. And look at all those accessories, the spear or javelin with the tips and the knife and the backpack with the GoPro. He says it's a GoPro camera on there. And a couple action poses here. I think that looks pretty good. She's got, looks like black gloves. Ready for action, ready to throw that javelin or spear. Is it javelin or spear, guys? You let me know. Which is it? All right, here she is. So that camera is coming up out of her backpack. The articulated camera is coming up over her shoulder. And you'll see, so there, the hat and hair, so the hair is coming out the bottom of the hat, that is removable, that piece. And Lenny was on the Fan First Friday, and he had the figure, and he showed how you just take that off, and you can put on the hair itself without the hat. And you'll see on the hat, he made note that they did replace the symbol. I don't know what the symbol on the original figure was, but now it's got the star with the stripes, all white stripes. Classified is all white. Retro is red, white, and blue. So there she is. There she is again. Again, this shot's looking great to me. Now, I don't know if she can hold all of her accessories on here. Looks like she's got a sheath for her knife. That spear is right here, is on her backpack. So I don't know if on the other side, if she can hold everything or not. But at least it looks like she... if she's at least holding something, you don't have another piece on the floor, which is overall, I like in this classified line so far. Most of the figures can hold almost everything that they come with, which is pretty cool. And here they are together, the dynamic duo. And in this shot, you can see Jay's communication device there on her belt. The other figures mostly had them up here over their shoulder. She has it here on the belt. It looks a little smaller. This is one where the face sculpt, I'm not sure if I like it or not. So I don't know. We'll have to see in person how it's looking. Now love this shot. This is beautiful. Now, I don't have the images that they showed during the Fan First Friday where we saw Zartan and the Cobra Trooper, but they showed those images and I instantly was scared that these two figures were going to be a part of the Cobra Island wave, or Cobra Island Target exclusive figures, because it looks kind of like they're on the island and like what those other figures look like in the set photos. Thankfully, they're not. As of right now, I believe they're still available through Big Bad Toy Store and I think Amazon. They're sold out on Hasbro Pulse, of course. No surprise there. But I think if you head over to either Big Bad Toy Store or Amazon, you should be able to find them. And that will lead us into, before I get there, let me just check the chat to see if you guys had classic action figures. Hey. Oh wait, I wanted to highlight something here. Classic action figure said her face looked better on the in-person segments with Lenny. See, it's something we gotta see in person really to tell. I wanted to see something. There was a comment and now I missed it. Okay. JLS Comics. Hey, JLS Comics says it's a javelin. So, and then Dagon, hey Dagon, and Dagon says, wait, nope, that wasn't it. Dagon says, man, can't wait for a ripcord they'll make out of Flint and other parts, maybe Beachhead. Well, we already had a Beachhead, so Chris says, I tried to avoid this line, but I caved on a few. These two are a must-have, though. So far, I've seen overwhelmingly positive response for these two figures, I believe, because they really just went full classic design for these, similar to what we saw with Zartan. Yeah, so I think that's really why we've gotten such a positive response. I'm surprised they're not. Well, I guess Amazon and Big Bad leave things up for a while. They don't really sell out, right? They don't sell out their pre-orders. Yeah, so I did pre-order these. I think I did Big Bad Toy Store for these two. And yeah, so I'm all for these. I'm a little disappointed that we won't see them till June. At least I won't. That's what my order said. I don't know about if you order them from Hasbro Pulse. My experience with Hasbro Pulse is that Hasbro will ship the product out to the other retailers first before you get yours, unless you are a premium member on Hasbro Pulse, and then you might get them earlier. I could be wrong. Sorry, this figure is falling over here. All right. Yeah, classic action figures. Looks like no more gold on these figures. Right. I think we will not be seeing any more gold. And if we do, it will be rare. It won't be a common thing. Maybe they might bring that back for maybe some kind of sub team or something at some point. But it seems like Hasbro took the note from pretty much everybody that did not like the gold. So, and Bat Hulk. Yeah, I don't miss the gold at all. I don't think anybody does really miss it. I haven't heard anyone say, I wish they would have more gold on those figures. So yeah. All right. So that's Flint and Lady Jaye. Let's move on. Let's move on now to the retro reveals. There were three, and and another thing I wanted to say before we move on. Um, I was very surprised that these were not leaked beforehand. We did not see, at least from me, my perspective, these two figures were not leaked before the Fan First Friday event. I think that's the first time we've gone without having a leak, which I love. I'd rather see them, in the presentation first. And another thing about the presentation, on the one hand, yes, I agree with everybody that said um, the presenters and the people talking, not talking about Lenny or the actual designers, but the people on the marketing side, they're not the best at being on camera and doing a presentation like there's they've been doing. I agree with that, but on the other side, you got to understand these people. They're not trained to be on camera personalities. It's a very specific skill. That's why people get paid a lot of money to do it because it's something. It's talent, but it's also kind of something that you just have, uh, you know, with you. It's sometimes it's training, also talent and mix of talent and training, and a lot of times these marketing people just don't have it. And so my recommendation to Hasbro, if you're watching this, maybe maybe find a fan to come on to these live streams and do the MC. Like when they did the Hasbro PulseCon, the host on there, I thought she did a good job. Get somebody like her to come on and host these. It will be a lot more natural, a lot smoother. It won't be as cringeworthy as seeing some of the marketing people try to do something that they're just not equipped to do. They didn't go to college to be on camera personalities. So I'm not going to blame them too much for not being good at it. So, all right, let's move on now to the retro. Here we've got not hooded Cobra Commander 788. Shout out to Hoodie Coco, but this is the helmeted version of Cobra Commander. This, I don't think we've seen this upper torso used in a while. I have the 25th anniversary dark blue hooded version that uses that, and I believe is the same thing because it's got the part on the back where the gun can plug in, like on the very similar to the vintage figure. This is the baby blue, light blue Cobra Commander. Not my favorite look. I like the dark blue version, like what we saw with Classified, that shade of blue. But this is very Sunbow inspired, Sunbow and vintage figure inspired. He's got a bright red belt. I'm not a huge fan of that red belt. I would have changed it to silver or gold. But it looks like he's got a pistol there, which I believe plugs into his back, and a knife, black boots, and figure stand. Here is the packaging. They're continuing with this packaging. I don't know if it's too late for them to change it or if they're even going to change it, but I think everybody agrees the packaging could be better, even if they just put that white border around the edge. That would do a lot to help, because right now it just looks like what people have said, looks like something you might see in a discount store, the dollar store. Now the artwork is great. I like the artwork. I think for the most part they've taken, it's either been the original, if they have the original, or repro, or what they use for the 25th anniversary line. The card art, yes, keep the card art, but we need a thicker card and add that white border around it. Cobra Enemy, keep that. And a lot of people have issues with this bubble. Now, I didn't really talk about packaging before when I talked about the retro reveals. I just forgot. I didn't think about it. But packaging is important to a lot of people. We've got a lot of mint on card collectors, and they would rather not pay for something that's not great, and especially if they order it and it comes damaged through the mail. Anyway, so we've got this huge bubble here, really oversized for what comes with this figure. Look, he comes with a pistol and a knife, and it really looks kind of silly here. It's a lot of plastic that you don't need to be, the bubble only needs to be as big as the figure, and put that pistol and knife there behind him. I would do like they did with the vintage. I'm not one of those people that says everything has to be exactly like the vintage line, but I would prefer to see decrease the bubble, put the weapons behind. I don't need to see everything. I don't need to see all the accessories before I buy it. I know they're there. Put a list of the accessories on the side over here on the black where you've got nothing. And he made a point. I forget his name. The gentleman, not Lenny, but the other guy that before he just had a mustache. Now he's got the beard. He really made it a point to show that you can take off the top of the helmet. So you just have that silver dome, which I'm not a fan of. I don't see a need for that. I'd rather just have that top part of the helmet glued on. I don't need to take it off for any reason, really. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I think I would just glue, after I open it, just glue it on. But that's me. You guys might think differently. Do I have another shot? Yes, and they did have shots of all these guys with that explosion background, and that does look pretty cool, I got to admit. So there he is. A rare moment of seeing Cobra Commander in action. Sunbow, we're used to seeing him in the Sunbow series leading from a distance and retreating a lot, doing a lot of retreating. And let me head back over here to the chat. Yeah, not a lot of people on tonight because I didn't advertise. I didn't know that I was going to be able to do it until the last minute. I don't like to advertise something at a certain day and time and then not be able to do it. There's family in town, a lot of stuff going on, and my job and all that. So JLS Comics says his belt being different than the card art color is odd. Well, at least I'm willing to forgive that. At least his uniform is the same color. Right? The belt, yeah, I mean, that would be nice. Oh, here you go. Classic action figures. I nominate JoeFan82 or Diagnostic80 to reveal Joe figures. I would be honored, but I'm sure there's some other high-profile people like Chris over at Full Force that would do a better job. So, yeah, I think he would actually be really great. Did they? Okay, they gone had to leave. All right, they gone. Catch me on the replay, right? Let me go back here to so the card art, his belt buckle is yellow, and then the figure is red. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, the card art, it looks a little bit, the blue looks like a shade darker than the figure. So it looks closer than I think it looks closer than the Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow that we saw in Wave 1. But again, that's just me. So that's Hoodie Coco. Let's move on to Duke. This is probably the most, I think, controversial figure that we saw in the reveals. I'm not a huge fan of this new version, um, because I think they should have done. I think the most negative comments I've seen were the use of this head, the yelling head, or the O-face Duke, um, that we saw in the 50th anniversary line. I don't think this is a bad head sculpt, but I think when you're revamping a line or redoing these figures for the first time, potentially to new fans, you want to start out with a more generic, like regular looking face and then the screaming face. Maybe do an alternate head, do a regular head, and then do this screaming head with it so you can change it out. And what the main problem I have is this right here, this green strap thing we've got over here. This was with the 50th anniversary figure, but it was silver, and it was supposed to be the straps for the jetpack that he came with, which makes sense. Knowing that and now seeing this doesn't make sense to me at all. It doesn't look like these are pouches. They're just parts of the belt, you know? And if he had a backpack, maybe it would make sense, but he doesn't have, it doesn't come with a backpack. So I don't like that. I'm not a huge fan of that. He's got a dark green shirt poking out the top. It looks like they got the colors right for his sort of tan shirt and then dark green pants. Looks like brown boots. Black weapons, good. Black rifle, black handgun. Here he is in the package, and card art looks good. Again, same issues with the packaging. This bubble looks a little a little better. You've got the items spaced out a little more, so it doesn't look as silly as the Cobra Commander one. But yeah, he's just, this Duke is not happy. He's not happy, obviously. He's yelling at someone. I don't know what they did to piss him off, but they did something. And he's not happy. Maybe he's not happy because he's wearing this dark green strap thing that's not doing anything. They should have just done one. If they're going to do retro and do the strap across, you know, the one like we see in the card art right there. Do that with the grenade. Don't do this other thing that obviously is not the same. You just did it in the 25th anniversary, right? So that's a mystery to me. I don't know why that decision was made. So that is Duke. Do we have any other pictures of him? Here we go. Duke, ready for action. Okay. I'm not a big Duke fan. I like Duke, but if I had to choose between Duke and Flint, I'm going to go with Flint. That's just me. All right. Do we have any comments about Duke here in the chat? Doesn't look like it, although there could be a delay. It doesn't look like like you guys have much to say about Duke, which is fine. I'd rather have no comments than a lot of hateful comments, if that makes any sense. So, all right, that's Duke, and here we go, Lady Jaye. This is the best looking figure out of these three retro reveals, in my opinion. I believe this is a reissue of the figure we saw on the 50th anniversary, the 2-pack with Baroness, but new face. This is with that new face printing technology. But now that I say that, let me go back here. I don't think this Duke is using that new. So I don't think this Duke is going to exactly match up with the other figures that we've seen with like Storm Shadow. I haven't opened up Baroness yet, but you know, this Duke head looks like what we've seen before. But now when you come over here to Lady Jaye, you can see the eyes. In general, the face has a more realistic presentation instead of a more comic animation kind of look. Again, I'll have to see her in hand. She comes with the hat and the dark hair. What I wish they could have done with this figure is what they did with the classified figure and have an alternate, either alternate head or be able to remove the hat with the hair. You know, that would have been really cool, because my preferred version of Lady Jaye is just the hair, like we saw in the Sunbow series. But she comes with some nice accessories. Looks like some nice paint apps on those. Web gear, I do not have the 50th anniversary version that came out, so I can't compare with how that one looks, but this one's looking pretty good. And here she is in the package. Interesting how they choose the colors for these bubbles. So I always say Hooded Cobra Commander. HCC 788 is in my head. Helmeted Cobra Commander had a yellow bubble. Duke has a red bubble, and now Lady Jaye has the blue bubble. Not a huge fan of this card art. It is vintage card art, or repro, or close to vintage if it's not the original. I don't know, something about it I'm not a huge fan of. I love Hector Garrido, don't get me wrong, but this particular one is not the best, in my opinion. Again, Lady Jaye is my favorite female Joe. It's just this card art. But I have seen a lot worse. Okay, so yeah, there she is, Lady Jaye. Same issues with the packaging. Here she is in action. Looks like she's got the same articulation. Maybe not. Looks like she does not have the rocker ankles. Let's see here. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's just the straight. Looks like we've got the 360 and then the straight up and down at the top of the boot. So, which is okay. I mean, it's better than no articulation, right, guys? And that's the last image I have for reveals. Let me see what you guys are saying over here. Hey, Impossible Pie, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I mentioned that there's a whole issue there with with the Duke and the backpack. Yeah, not sure why they went with that choice for Duke with the green straps there. Eric T, this wave didn't impress me at all. I've heard, so while I saw overwhelming praise for the classified Lady Jaye and Flint, for the retro figures, not so much. So yeah, Cobra Commander, Duke, and Lady Jaye not getting the love this time around for the retro figures. And a couple of you guys are saying that classified Flint doesn't have a backpack and he needs that. And Impossible says he needs a knife. And Screaming Eagle Studio 6, I'm just glad G.I. Joe is back. So Screaming Eagle doesn't care what they produce as long as we see G.I. Joe back on the shelves, which we may or may not. So these are, again, I think I said it earlier, for those of you that didn't hear me or went on, these are, I believe, still available for pre-order from Big Bad Toy Store. Sorry, the classified figures, Lady Jaye and Flint, are at Big Bad Toy Store and Amazon. The retro figures are Walmart exclusives. I don't know if they're still available on the website. They might be sold out. You have to go and check. And who knows what the store availability is going to be like with these. I saw, as far as the retro figures go, I have seen Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, and that's it. That's the only. I never saw Baroness in the store, and I never saw. I still haven't seen Wave 2. I don't know why that's coming up there. So yeah, I don't know why I'm slipping back. Oh yeah, I wanted to see. So Flint does not have a backpack. He has this holster for his gun. So I guess they could have given him a backpack, but they didn't. So he does come with the vest and a beret and shotgun. So, or the boomstick. Lenny kept calling it a boomstick on the Fan First Friday. But see, he's loading it, ready for action. Loading it, ready for action. Oh, and wait, no, that's not the one. That's not the one I wanted to show. Classic action figures. Yes, it's a good time to be a Joe fan. Action figure expert. They didn't not show any vehicles. They didn't show any vehicles. You're right about that. No vehicles this time. I was surprised there were only 2 figures revealed. I thought, well, first I was expecting not to have any more reveals this year. I thought maybe we might have to wait until next year, but they did reveal these two, and they're not going to be available until next year anyway. I'm wondering if we will see any more availability for what's already been revealed before Christmas. Is there going to be any kind of push to have these at retail? So far, from what I've seen, it doesn't seem likely. So I'm planning on doing a video talking about what happened this year with the G.I. Joe brand and how it didn't necessarily do what I think a lot of us were hoping would do or hoping would happen. And there's a couple of reasons for that I think I'm planning on doing a standalone video just about that. Road Pig John says, for the retro figures, they should be available for pre-order at walmart.com. I pre-ordered them last Friday. Yeah, I got mine. So this was the first, I believe, the first Fan First Friday that I had no issues ordering anything. I went to I went to Hasbro Pulse first, I think, and they were sold out. I went over to Big Bad and got them. What I will say, during the event, they said, the lady that was on their marketing team said these will be available at Hasbro Pulse and other retailers, but she didn't say what the other retailers were, unless I missed it, unless they put it somewhere in the chat or something. So I just I love Big Bad Toy Store. They have great shipping. Sometimes it might take a while to get it because they can't ship it to you until they get it, and if they don't get it for a while. But I went over to their website and they had them for pre-order. So I pre-ordered those. I also pre-ordered another Red Ninja because I only have one and they still have some available. So if you don't have a Red Ninja, you can pre-order Red Ninjas at Big Bad Toy Store. They won't be here until next year, but you can pre-order them instead of going to the store and not seeing them. Screaming Eagle has a good question here. Joe Fan 82, if you were in charge of the retro line, what would you release? What wouldn't I release? If I was going to be selfish and only think of myself, I would release the figures that I don't have. I would re-release Shadow Tracker. I would release figures that they never got to uh, in the 25th or later waves of the modern line. There's still figures they haven't released. I would release some new characters that we haven't gotten. Like I'm a fan of things like Tombstone, new characters that we haven't seen. Some of you might want them to release all of the original vintage figures first before we get new guys. I'd say sprinkle a new one in here and there just to mix it up a little bit. That's kind of what they did with this guy. I would like to see some army builders get some, which I think with the Snake Eyes movie, that would be a perfect time to re-release the Red Ninja. You've got a couple versions in the modern line. Pick one and release that. I feel like there's a strong possibility that could happen. Make it a 2, 3, 4 pack, whatever you want. Sell it on Hasbro Pulse, or just don't make it an impossible to find exclusive like they did with the classified trooper figure. Now they're only releasing these like 3 figures at a time per wave. I'm talking about retro. So that's really, you got to really narrow down your choices. If it's only like 3 figures at a time, it's going to, and what is that? Every couple of months? What is that? 3, 6, maybe like 16 figures a year or something, which is not a lot, guys. I would say, so I'm a Viper person. I prefer Vipers over the traditional Cobra officer, Cobra soldiers. So I would like to see Vipers, the regular Viper, all the other Vipers, Night Viper. I'm a Night Viper guy. I'd like them to re-release the Night Viper because I need more Night Vipers. I understand why they are, because when you relaunch a line with a known property, you always release your A-list people first. That's just every line does it. Marvel Comics, DC Comics, He-Man, Transformers. That's why there's a million Optimus Primes. You always release the main guys first because that's what sells the most. That's why we have a million Snake Eyes figures, or they made a million or a lot of Snake Eyes figures. That's why when there's a new statue line, they start all over again. Here's Snake Eyes, here's Scarlet, here's Cobra Commander. That's why there's there aren't any Backblast statues. There aren't any there are no Outback statues. There's no Big Lob statue because these lines never last long enough to get to them. But so yeah, if it were me, I would not be releasing the main guys again. But that's me, releasing what I would want. So, all right, now I got to go back and find that one. Okay, I'll see if there's any more questions here before I sign off for tonight. Another thing I wanted to say, I wanted to apologize to you guys for not releasing any new videos the last couple of weeks. There's a lot of stuff going on with my job, and I just didn't have the energy to do it. And then when I did, I said this at the beginning of the video, you guys might not have heard, the table that I usually use for my reviews is not here. So that's the reason why now you see this different background behind me, because I have to I'm at my desk right now. So the earliest you're going to see another figure review is probably sometime after Thanksgiving, the week after Thanksgiving. So, and that's probably, it's going to be classified Cobra Commander. I'll look at him, and then I've got a bunch of other stuff lined up. So let me see if you guys had any more comments here that I need to address. Eric T said, I've only found Retro Storm Shadow twice and Snake Eyes once. Had to get my Baroness from eBay. I was able to get my Baroness from Walmart.com sometime. I honestly don't remember when, because it takes so long for them to arrive that I forget when I ordered them. So I don't think she's still available though on the website. Classic Action Figures says, I only see the Retro Duke on Walmart. Oh, well. I wonder if I can, and it's real. Sometimes these websites are real funky when you, like, I went to search for the new classified figures on Amazon's website and I didn't see them, but they showed up later. Let me see if I'm just going to do a quick search here and see what comes up. All right. So that Retro Baroness is on Walmart's website, but it's selling for $39.95 through a third party. This is what I really don't like about Walmart's website, is they allow third-party people to sell stuff on their website for jacked up prices. So I see Retro Duke listed there, and I think that's, I don't see the other two. So if you go to Walmart's website right now, I found Retro Duke, and let me see if he's still, looks like he's still available. So if you want Duke, he's still there, but I don't even see the other two right now. But, you know, you could try going to Google. Sometimes that works out for me. If you go to Google and search for it and then like do the shopping tab, sometimes things will come up there. Possible Pie says, I do like Flint. I pre-ordered him. Good for you. I think Flint's going to be one of the best figures that we've seen so far, just from the images. I could be wrong when I get him in hand. He could not stand up. Like another figure that I have, but another club figure. But yeah, he looks really good. And Classic Action Figures, I think you are stating the obvious, my friend. I think most every fan is thanking the action figure gods that they were not Target exclusives, which I really thought, I was really scared they were going to be, but they are not. So you should, there really is no reason for anybody not to be able to pre-order these, because I believe they are still available through Big Bad or Amazon. Okay, so now shoot, the chat just like caught up, and now I'm kind of skimming through here. So I apologize if I miss anything here. Road Pig John says, I think they probably are going to release a medium-sized vehicle with a figure next, and any new Fan Friday, it's been a trend for them to release the vehicles. Maybe, I don't know what kind of, we might see, and they're going to be small vehicles. I don't think we're going to see like a Sky Striker or anything. I think we might see like a Ghost Hawk or a Trouble Bubble, something like that. Same thing. What's funny is I think the vehicles that we'll see with the retro line are very similar to what we will see with a classified line. We've seen the motorcycle with the Baroness, and we're just not going to see any big vehicles, at least right now. Maybe later they might do that. Classic action figures. A lot of people missed out on the Lifeline, Law and Order, and Sci-Fi Pursuit of Cobra figures. Those should be released on the retro line. Yeah, like I agree. Hard to find figures that a lot of people missed out on. I missed out on Shadow Tracker. Never saw him anywhere in the stores. I did see Lifeline, but I passed on him because I was at Toys R Us. They had Lifeline. They also had Spirit and Quick Kick. I got Spirit and Quick Kick. Didn't get Lifeline. I did end up getting the Marauders Task Force version of Lifeline, which is a pretty good stand-in. So if you go to Marauders website now, I don't think the put together figure is going to be there, but you can get the parts and make your own. I got one of their last sales they had over the summer where they were putting together these figures. So Screaming Eagle, sorry for so many questions. That's fine. I'm here to take questions, at least for a couple more minutes. What's your favorite G.I. Joe Army builder? So I guess that would probably have to be, man, that's tough. So the Joes don't really have army builders, right? It's all Cobra. Again, so my favorite Viper on Cobra is the Night Viper. So but I only have, I've got two of the modern ones. I've got the green one and the red one. I prefer the green one. I also really like the Techno Viper. Can't have too many of those. What else do I? And the regular Viper. I think the regular Viper's look is just so classic and iconic. I like that. So I would say that the Night Viper, Techno Viper, and the regular Viper are probably the ones I would say. Eric, you're speaking my language now. Love to see a classified Night Viper. Unfortunately, I think we're a long way off because the classified figures come out not near the quantity of what we saw with any Joe line before now. They would release a lot more figures per wave, and we're years away, I think, from seeing a Night Viper, unfortunately. That's not to say we won't see some cool customs out there. I'm sure we'll see a custom Night Viper before we see an official one. Mikhail says, I don't know about y'all. Flint's design to me is an homage towards three versions of Flint. The aesthetic is OG Flint. The the vest reminds me of the Retaliation movie, and the shirt is reminiscing Resolute. You could be right about that. I think Lenny said that they kind of looked at all the media versions of these characters as they're doing it, and they're kind of pulling parts from different places. Possible said a modern hit and run in the Pursuit of Cobra line would have been cool. There have been a couple modern hit and runs. I have the gray camo one that came with Goggles, Gary Goggles figure. But yeah, I don't have the regular hit and run, so that would have been cool. I'm sure if the retro line lasts long enough, I'm sure we'll see it run at some point. And classic action figures, I think you're talking about the classified line, right? He says, interesting that we haven't seen any specialized Joe's Cobras yet. No Arctic jungle desert figures. Now, we have seen an Arctic figure. They are calling this Storm Shadow Arctic Mission Storm Shadow. Although, if you're familiar with the vintage line, this design is just a regular Ninja Force Storm Shadow. So I don't look at this and think Arctic Mission because I know it from the vintage line. But they are calling this Arctic Mission Storm Shadow. So technically, they have released an Arctic figure. But you're right. I am surprised we getting these. One thing about being so I'm relatively new to the 6-inch figures. Getting these guys to stand up sometimes is not so easy. I'll fix them later. We haven't seen any aquatic guys. No shipwreck, no torpedo, no cobra eels. Where's the love for my water friends, I'm really surprised we haven't seen shipwreck because he is one of the main guys from Sunbow. Everybody knows shipwreck. Bat Hulk says the Crimson Guard are my favorite army builders. Awesome. Crimson Guard. I like the Crimson Guard too. Not as much as the Night Viper. Cosmic Action. I definitely want a Snow Serpent, Crimson Guard, and Bats. I'm pretty sure we will see all of those at some point if the line keeps going. So it's just a matter of when. Yeah, and those are, these are guaranteed. I don't want to say guaranteed money makers, but guaranteed sellers, right? Because you want collectors, we want multiples of the army builders, at least. When I was a kid, I never had multiples of anything. I had one Night Viper, one vintage Night Viper. That was it. I had one Saw Viper. So they were really, when I was a kid, they were really individual people. I knew this was a Night Viper, but this was the Night Viper. I didn't have anyone else. So as an adult collector, I like to get multiples, because I wasn't able to as a kid. But yeah, I'm surprised we haven't gotten. Well, we have gotten the Trooper that was unavailable everywhere, and now we have the infantry. I pre-ordered 3 of the infantry figures that I think are supposed to come out next year. But yeah, I jumped on that as soon as I could. Brady says, I've only found the retro Hiss and classified Gung Ho at Walmart. You've actually found a classified figure at Walmart? I'm amazed. I hope you took a picture and logged that as a special occasion, because that's amazing. I don't have I seen any. I did see, back when they were first released, I saw a few Wave 1 figures at Walmart, but that's been it. I've never seen any since then. And I have not seen any retro Hiss tanks or Awe Strikers at the store. I was able to get mine through pre-order. So, and I've seen pictures online people are posting of at Walmarts where there's Hiss tanks 5 or 6 deep. They're just shelf forming. I don't know. It depends on where you live and what the distribution is for that area, what got sent in to that location. Hey, Gaz. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to be wrapping up actually kind of soon here. I think I've been on for close to an hour now. Oops. Let me see. I think I missed some here. Yeah, sorry guys. I'm pretty behind on the chat here. I'm trying to get to the questions, but it's taking me a little while. For retro, we should get a Tomahawk Eagle Hawk re-release. Maybe. I don't know. I think they're gonna stick with the small stuff, and maybe gradually, maybe at some point we might get a bigger vehicle, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. for that to happen. Let's see. Road Prig says the retros are not that bad if we take out of consideration previous figures. Same figures released a few years ago, so this lineup is perfect for new fans. Yes, but this is something I'm going to say in this other video and I'm planning on making. I don't think new fans are seeing these. That's the issue with retro and classified. And same thing with at least in my area. Same thing with the He-Man Origins line. It's at least He-Man Origins. I've seen a few figures here and there, but I'm a vast majority of kids. I would say almost all kids have not seen G.I. Joe classified figures at retail. They just aren't. The stores have one, maybe two pegs dedicated for them, and they're always empty. And same thing with the retro figures. It's just they're just not seeing them. So if they don't see them, they're not going to find them. Now, if you've got an adult collector, if you're a parent or an uncle or aunt or mom, and you intentionally go and search these figures out for your kids or relatives or whatever, then they might have access to them. Otherwise, they're not seeing them, unfortunately. Screaming goes, ever think about this, but kids born in the early 2000s were probably the last real toy playing generation. Yeah, so I have two boys. I have two sons. My oldest is 8, and my youngest just turned 5. And my oldest, my 8-year-old, he's done with toys. He hasn't played with, despite my, urging him, and I've facilitated. I've given him whatever he needs to encourage play. He just, it's just not into it. He's, entered the video game world and hasn't looked back. My youngest one he still plays, but he's also gotten into the video games. His brother kind of shows him how to do things. And yeah, I mean, once the kids go into the video games, they really don't want to go back. So yeah, and this is a whole issue that could be, take up a lot of time talking about. But yeah, I think there's maybe a little later. I think there are kids maybe late 2000s that might still have played with toys, but you're definitely unfortunately you're on the right track there. Impossible Pie, because retro and classified figures are so difficult to purchase, why not spend your money on vintage Joes? Now, I'm not a huge vintage collector, but from what I've heard, prices on vintage Joes have gone up dramatically within the last year or 2 years. I think that's just a lot of collectors have been buying them and not reselling unless they need to or they have to. So the quantity, I think it could be wrong. I think the quantity has gone down as far as vintage items. I remember I used to go on eBay and just every once in a while and look up flags and terror drums just to see what was out there. And now if you go looking for those items, there's a lot less that show up on the listings than there used to be. I think people just aren't selling as much. So demand is up and supply is down. So prices are up. Classic action figure. So, what would you like to see for the first G.I. Joe HasLab product? That's a great question. What would I like to see, or what do I think is likely for them to produce? This could be two completely different things. As a mainly 1/18th scale guy, I would like to see something in that scale. Either a new flag. Now I'm just talking about what I would see, not necessarily what is probable or likely. A new flag or a headquarters, like what we saw. If you remember the vintage comics, and we saw sort of a cross section of the headquarters with the different levels, I would like to see that. I have no idea how much that would cost, or with some like LED lighting. I've seen some custom things like that, and it look really cool. I think that would be awesome. That's what I would like to see. But I don't know how likely it is that we'll see either of those. Bat Hulk says they made a snow speeder for the Star Wars Black Series line. Yes, they did. If they did that, something the size of the Dragonfly or his tank could be possible. It is possible. Anything's possible. It's possible they could give away. They could make a new flag and just give them away to everybody. That's possible, but it's not likely. That's probably never going to happen. So comparing Star Wars to G.I. Joe is like the fan base for Star Wars is drastically different than the fan base for G.I. Joe. It's so like if this is the amount of fan base for Star Wars, this is the amount of the fan base for G.I. Joe. That's why Star Wars is a multi-million, if not billion-dollar thing that generates all this money for Disney. That's why Disney paid so much to get Lucasfilm the rights for Star Wars. They didn't pay Hasbro $1 billion for the rights to G.I. Joe because there's not as many fans. Would we see a Dragonfly or his tank? I would. It's possible. It's. I would think we're a couple years away from that, though, unless they do a HasLab. I think if the classified line keeps going, maybe we might see those. But I think like that's as big of a vehicle we're gonna see outside of HasLab. HasLab maybe something bigger, but we're never going to see a classified Sky Striker or a classified Rattler or any kind of jet. So helicopter, small helicopter, or his tank, maybe. Here, classic action figures. Prices on vintage shows have skyrocketed tremendously. Yeah. I've moved on to completing my vintage Star Wars figures. Those are now quite affordable. I wouldn't know, so I'm going to take your word for that. Classic action figures. All right, I'm going to see if there's one more question here because I'm going to be wrapping up here. Well, this is one comment. The guy says, yeah, the prices he's talking about vintage prices have gone up. Check out local dealers. Theirs hasn't. It's a little difficult right now with the COVID to go to visit local dealers. So try, be safe out there. But Gas recommends, yeah, that would be my preference for buying vintage is to see it in person at a show. But Yeah. The way things are now. Oh, and Road Pig John, Star Wars are now as cheap as some G.I. Joe fans waiting to buy stuff for clearance. That's not the way to back up the brand. Yeah, one of the reasons that the line, that I feel the line kind of went down with the 50th anniversary is because uh, people were waiting for stuff to go on clearance. They weren't buying it as it came out. So the retailers stopped buying it. That's why Toys R Us stopped buying, because the Toys R Us buys the product from Hasbro at a discount, and then they charge um, the consumer to buy it from them. So they were releasing those 2-pack vehicles, the Sky Striker with the his tank and so on, and they weren't selling. People were waiting for them to go on clearance. And so they said, Toys R Us said, screw this. Why are we, we're losing money on this. We can't afford to keep buying these. So we'll just do figures. And so that's why we stopped seeing vehicles released, because people weren't buying them. And now you look, those are, on the aftermarket, those are expensive now. All right, guys, I think I'm going to be wrapping it up, getting a little horse in the throat. So this was a look at the new reveals, classified reveals for Flint and Lady Jaye, and then the retro Coco and Lady Jaye and Duke, Yelling Duke, Angry Duke. And so, as I said, I'm going to hopefully get a new review video up after Thanksgiving. And I hope you guys stay safe and have a good holiday. If you're celebrating Thanksgiving, have a safe holiday. With everything going on, I'm sure we can all be thankful for something. Be thankful for what you have. Let's not dwell on the negative. Let's be thankful for what we do have, and that G.I. Joe is releasing something. We may not be able to have all of it or some of it, or in some cases any of it, but it is out there, and the possibility to get new stuff is out there. So let's just try to keep that in mind this week. Okay, guys? And that's going to be it. All of you stay safe, and I will see you next time.